Welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Dan Shepard. I'm joined by Miniature Mouse.
Hello, Maximum Daximum.
Does it scare you when I go meow? Because mice are afraid of cats.
Oh.
Meow.
Ooh. Maybe I was a mouse in another life because sorry. I know everyone's going to be mad at me. I do not like cats.
They're not your animal.
They're not.
You don't even have to say you dislike them. You just would never own one. How about that?
But you know what? I don't like them.
Okay, that's fair too.
Okay.
I got to tell you, we really had a blast talking to this guest. She will remind you a lot of our conversation with Stephen Dubner from Freakonomics, if you remember that conversation. It has the same meandering facts popping up here and there. It was really, really fun.
Delicious quality.
And the guest is Angela Duckworth. Angela is an academic psychologist and science author. She is the Rosa and Egbert Chang Professor of Psychology at the University of Pennsylvania, where she studies grit and self-control. She won the MacArthur Award, right?
MacArthur Genius grant.
My goodness, what an achievement. She has a couple great books, Grit, The Power of Passion and Perseverance. She also has a TED Talk of the same name. And most importantly, she has a new podcast that I'm so excited about with her and Stephen Dubner called No Stupid Questions. So, no stupid question or questions?
Questions, I think.
Yeah, questions. Come on. No one would say no stupid question.
That was a stupid question.
We just proved there are a stupid question. Please enjoy Angela Duckworth. We get support from Quince.
So we've been talking about Quince a lot lately, and as we head into fall, it's the perfect time to reset your wardrobe with their amazing pieces. I think it's so fun to do when the seasons turn over to just spruce up your wardrobe with a couple specials, and Quince is the place.
Totally. We're talking organic cotton, Mongolian cashmere, tailored chinos from just $60. Premium fit and quality you'd expect from a luxury brand designer. I love Quince. You know, I like it understated and subtle, and I like stuff that has high quality. And Quince checks all those boxes.
I love a lot of stuff from Quince. Honestly, they have incredible premium denim, which is very important for fall. It's pretty much all I wear in the fall is denim. And Quince has such a good selection of quality denim. Their stuff is so versatile, timeless, and built to last that you just grab every single day without thinking.
Right. And all of that for 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They go direct to ethical factories, cut out the middlemen, so you get all that quality without overpaying for it.
We love that. And they do way more than clothes. They have bedding, cookware, bath essentials, travel must-haves, same deal, and great quality.
Upgrade your everyday. Download the Quince app for app-exclusive offers or go to quince.com/Dax. Get free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada and the UK too. That's QUINCE.com/Dax.
We get support from Skims. Oh man, do I love Skims. I've been living in the Skims lightweight cotton collection all summer, and I have to tell you, getting dressed has become so easy. I just throw it on. It just feels right immediately, whether I'm grabbing coffee or I'm on the couch all day or I'm out, even going to dinner. The cotton is so lightweight and breathable, which in this heat is a non-negotiable. The cotton jersey t-shirt, I just need everyone to know about this one. This one hugs in all the right places. It's very soft and it still looks and fits the same after months of washing, which is very hard to do, I feel, with t-shirts. I've been wearing the black cotton jersey t-shirt with basically everything all summer long. It goes great with any patterned skirt or shorts or pants. I mean, anything truly. I believe that's probably my favorite piece from the cotton collection, but they also have great lightweight cotton thongs that are so comfortable and they're cute. That is a very, very hard mix to achieve, especially with undergarments. I feel if you can find some that are cute, but also comfortable and do the job, that is a win. And Skims has really, really figured that out with the lightweight cotton collection. Shop Skims cotton and all of my favorite pieces at skims.com. After you place your order, be sure to let them know we sent you. Select podcast in the survey and be sure to select Armchair Expert in the drop-down menu that follows.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
Oh my God, you're just as cute in real life, but not real life.
Samesies.
Monica and I were just watching your TED Talk, and she said, she's so cute. And I said, oh, I'll tell her. And here we are.
Let me just say, though, that was like the apex of my hair. Like, my hair has never looked better before or since. I don't know what they did, but I was like, seriously, that was like the best hair day.
It was the
All downhill
zenith.
from
It
there.
never happens that way, though. It's always your worst hair day when you're out there getting filmed.
They had a very good makeup and hair person.
Oh,
So there was
that's
that.
good.
Yeah.
Where was that?
Ted did a collaboration with PBS, and I think it was in a theater in Harlem or something. I think John Legend was the host. It was like right when he was engaged with Chrissy Teigen. And yeah, he was so excited. He was like excited to be engaged. And anyway, yeah, it was cool. It was a good little run. They had like Bill Gates and a bunch of other people.
Wow.
And I think they only did it that one time.
We just interviewed John Legend, and we're huge fans of him musically. I had no idea he went to Penn, that he was a Doogie Howser, that he is smarter than all of us. That was a real shocker to me. I was
Yeah.
like, great. Weirdly, that parlays into your topic, because I think we all believe in the illusion of hyper talent or God-given talent. And I guess that's, of course, what Gladwell's book was about, which I so much enjoyed.
Outliers, yeah, which is, by the way, meta. It's an outlier. Like, I think it might be like the most outlier of outliers for nonfiction books.
In that it did so
Yeah.
well.
In that it did so well. It's been,
Yeah.
I think, on the bestseller list for like a collective 5 years.
Oh,
like, you know,
Wow.
Oh my
like
gosh.
like 270 weeks or something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And counting, right? Because it kind of like comes on and comes off. So a lot of Outliers was about this 10,000 hour rule, which we can talk
Yeah.
about, by the way. And that scientist just died
Oh, we did?
last month. So like the 10,000 hour guy who's not Malcolm Gladwell. But anyway, yeah.
Of
We can
old
talk about
age,
that
I
if you want.
hope.
I don't know. What do you think about 73?
That's
not really that
It's not
old.
that old.
It's not that
It's
old.
not old enough.
It's
But
not that old. Yeah.
With my
not
family
old enough.
genetics, if I hit 73, I'll feel like it was a big win. So it's all relative, isn't it? Your expectations.
It is. And actually, it's all short. So it's like,
Yeah.
Yes. It only gets increasingly shorter.
did you know that time perspective actually changes as you get older? You know how like old people say like, wow, it feels like time is going by faster. Time perception actually changes across the lifespan, and it does actually feel shorter.
Okay, so I have an armchair theory on why, and I'd love for you to tell me what the real reason is. My daughter's 5, so this year will be 1/5 of her life.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
45, so this year will be 1/45 of my life. So proportionally, they are getting smaller and smaller relative to your time on Earth, so they feel smaller and smaller.
Yeah, it's like a ratio thing, right?
Yeah. What is the real explanation?
So
do you
I
know?
don't think anybody like fully knows. You could ask this. There's a psychologist named Laura Carstensen at Stanford, and I think her theory is that it is like, so it has something to do with, maybe this is the same, maybe it's different from your theory. It's like the amount of time there is that you think, of course, you never really know, to the finish line.
Yeah.
And as that gets like shorter and shorter, somehow that like changes our perception time. Although I have to say, I don't have enough it's not like as intuitive to me where I'm like, yeah, I get that. I'm kind of like, oh, I have to think about that.
Yeah, the only analogy that feels like that makes sense is when you drive to a new location, right? And it's novel. And so the ride there feels very, very long, but then the ride back feels quite short because it's not novel. So I don't think your brain is taking on as much new information. So there's not actually as much info in the memory. So the memory itself feels longer and more complete.
Okay, this is related. I have noticed this even on a run. I only run the same stupid little circle every day, but it always feels longer going out than
Yes.
coming back.
Agreed. Yeah.
Do you know what flow is? Have you talked about
Oh,
flow?
yeah.
yeah.
I often am in a state of flow on this show.
Okay, so when you're in flow, some people feel like time goes slower, and some people feel like time flies by. But this distortion of time is very common to the flow state. And here's what I think all of this hinges on. It's what you're paying attention to. So like when you are really in the flow state and you're only paying attention to what you're doing, I can see how in a way time flies because you're like, oh my God, that was 2 hours. You weren't paying attention to like time passing and like what's going on in the world. You're just doing what you're doing. I can also see if you're like completely paying attention to what you're doing. It's like, you know, when they say athletes can see the stitches of the ball,
Yeah.
it's like you're paying such attention that you're absorbing so much information that it in that sense, like time is slowing down. But anyway, everything I think is about like where you pay attention. And there's something about what you're looking at.
Okay, can I hit you with one more theory? Okay, so
Yeah.
let's say when they get in a car accident, people
Yeah.
feel like time slowed down, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Often
That's a
I
very
say, yeah.
common, as I've had that experience.
You were in a car accident?
Oh, I've been in
Oh.
dozens of car accidents and motorcycle accidents and surgeries.
He's a bit of a daredevil.
Yeah, I race
Which is a
cars,
nice term
motorcycles.
for
Yeah.
it.
Oh my God. Okay. Keep going.
All right,
Sorry. And
so-
then like in your experience, time slows down when you are in an accident.
Yeah, and of course, I end up talking with other folks that have been in accidents. There seems to be consensus around this. Okay, so when you're watching a movie and you see slow motion,
Yeah. Like the Matrix.
right? To get that slow motion, they actually ran the camera at 2 or 3 times the speed.
Oh, that makes sense.
They're running it at 3 times the speed, so it's getting 3 times as much information. And then when they play it back at normal speed, that's what slows it down, is it has 3 times the
Ah.
amount of frames, right?
Yeah.
So I started thinking, oh, that's why your memories feel like time slowed down, because as soon as you're in a car accident and the adrenaline kicks in, you start taking on 3 times
So
as much
much
information. And it's all stored. And when you play that memory back at what is a normal speed for memories, yet there's 3 times as much information, it actually feels like it's slow motion.
I am 100% convinced by that theory. I really am. Like I'm like, yeah, that sounds totally right.
Do you think I should publish this?
Probably somebody already. You know who to ask though? Here's
Huh.
who you should have Danny Kahneman on.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
we've been-
So many people have told us that.
Yeah, we're into Danny
you ask him?
Kahneman.
Not yet.
Generally, Adam Grant, who you must know, he's our conduit to everyone interesting. And
In
so,
psychology.
well, just
Kind of in
Oh,
general.
don't limit him there. I bet he knows the best mechanic in the world. Adam Grant knows
Yeah.
every person in the world, and he is so helpful at connecting with
That's
those
so
people. So
true.
yeah, we got to get
Yeah.
on Danny Kahneman. He comes up all the
Yes.
time in the experienced versus narrative life.
The reason I said you should do Danny Kahneman is that he wrote a book actually before Thinking Fast and Slow. He wrote it in 1976 and it was called Attention and Effort. And he's really interested in attention and he would be a good person to ask. But he's writing a new book and I think he just finished the first full draft and it's on noise in your judgments. And he's really excited about it.
Does he teach somewhere?
He's at Princeton technically, but he's like in his,
Technically.
he's like living in New York. Like I don't know who's actually at Princeton right now.
Do you daydream of that future where you'll be one of those people that's like, you got a position somewhere, but we
Where
all
you don't
know
have
what
to
it
be
is.
there?
yes. Like you're just so esteemed that we're like, whatever, man, live at Central Park. And
I literally wrote to Danny Kahneman. My last email said, I realized when I read your chapter that I will never be a Danny Kahneman. So I will just have to be an Angela Duckworth. Like, no, I mean, I think he's the best living psychologist in the world. You'd have to figure out how to get him a microphone. Maybe
We
you
could send him
a
one.
microphone.
We'll send him one.
well, we can
Send him
figure
a
that out.
microphone. Yeah, a microphone for every Nobel laureate.
Every time I interview experts, I am most interested in why they ended up studying what they study. I think it's as relevant as what they end up producing.
And very related usually, right?
Yes, you grew up in New Jersey.
I did South Jersey, Cherry Hill.
How does South Jersey differ?
So there's like the shishi suburbs of New York
Mm,
in
mhm.
North Jersey.
Mhm.
And then there's like South Jersey, like Jersey Shore.
Oh, there we go.
Ah.
I didn't grow up on the Jersey Shore, but South Jersey has, we have wall-to-wall carpeting and
A lot of
like-
juiced up meatheads and Trans Ams and
It's
all that good stuff.
it's very poofy prom dresses and, a lot of gum being sold and chewed in South Jersey.
Okay, so and now I always circle it back to Monica because Monica has such a unique experience that I'm now very, very into, which is, the first generation experience. Your parents are both from China, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So by the way, does that make us first generation or what generation are we?
That's the big question, right?
You're first generation. It's the first one born here. Were you born here?
Yes. So
Yeah.
that makes us first generation. So it means first generation parentheses born here.
And the only, yes.
Are
and
you
the
sure about that? Or did you just say that?
No,
with
no,
no?
I'm sure of it.
He's not sure.
I am sure. You'll fact check it.
Yeah,
though.
I'll fact check.
But
I'm
I'm
writing
going to go
it down.
90% positive on that.
Super Googleable. Yeah, I mean, I should know that. So I always got confused whether they're first generation and then I'm second generation. Because if I'm first generation, they don't get a name.
Oh,
They're
well, they're
just
immigrants.
immigrants, I
Yeah,
think.
they're.
Oh, immigrants. Okay,
Yeah.
yes. So anyway, to answer your question, my parents immigrated from China. And I was born in the United States.
Well, first of all, with the first generation thing, it gets a little tricky because it's like at what time? So my mom came when she was 6. So she totally grew up here. So I feel uncomfortable saying she's
It's
not first
practically-
generation.
Yeah.
Monica's
that's on
1.5
that's on the
generation
grid.
because her dad did come here when he was 20. So,
So I'm like 1.5.
Okay, he counts.
Yeah, he counts.
Yeah.
we're
he
counting
counts.
him. Now, Monica was in Georgia, a very white suburb, and she was Indian. And so naturally, she wasn't dying to introduce everyone to her parents or embrace.
Like when food was made, probably a couple days
Oh,
before
yeah.
anyone could come over.
Like lunches that you brought to school. Did you have to bring smelly lunches? to
No,
school?
I didn't.
Smelly lunches.
Well, that is the fear, right?
It's
That is
true,
the
right?
fear. Yes.
We have our own smells, so I know, you know. You know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about, right?
Smelly lunches.
Well, I did not. They were totally, I took peanut butter and jelly, but I was so hyper aware of it. Like if my
Yes.
mom made dinner and I was so actively like, whatever you're making that has that smelly smell, I'm not eating that.
Right, because you wanted to be American.
Exactly.
Or maybe at least I wanted to be American, so I don't know how you
But
felt.
she'll
right?
go a step
100%.
further. She wanted to be white.
Well, here's the thing. I think in at least my immigrant family, when we said we want to be American, we meant white.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
obviously we were American. But I think we use those terms interchangeably, even though that's not factually accurate.
yeah.
Of course.
Were you like one of the few? Like I was, because there are like these little clusters of immigrant. But like, were you like the only Indian girl in your?
I was
grade or something?
not, but I was the only Indian girl who was a cheerleader. I was really
Me
aiming-
too.
Oh, wow.
And why did we do that? Because it was the most American, / white thing that you could do. I wanted to go against stereotype. Now with like racial issues being front and center for our culture, which is long overdue, by the way, I realized how non-introspective I've been about my ethnic identity, like to a fault. And I wonder whether it was like my family really tried to assimilate and fit in. I wanted my mom to buy ice cream sandwiches, and she like literally made an ice cream sandwich between like 2 pieces of bread. And I remember thinking like, wow, this is hard.
Bread.
Yeah, I mean, which wasn't
And that's not
necessarily
to talk
bad.
about the fact that 90% of Asians are lactose intolerant. So let's not even getting into the fact that
Let's
you
not
shouldn't
even
be
get
eating
into
it
that.
at all.
Yeah, which by the way, I'm not. So
Oh.
like
There
that's
we
a weird
go.
thing. I know, and
You're
also I don't
lucky.
have that gene that makes you flush when you
Get
drink
hammered.
alcohol.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So anyway, so I know that for some ethnic subgroups, and obviously like every culture is heterogeneous, but like anyway, my family tried to fit in, and I especially wanted to fit in. So
Yeah.
I kind of like didn't think about being like the only Chinese girl in my grade. But now that I look back at it, like in my high school, there was a senior prom, there was a junior prom, and we had a sophomore cotillion. And like every time one of these big dances would come up, like it was just assumed that I would go with like the only Asian guy.
Yeah.
Like, like there were 2. So I got to go to one with, and then there were like, I got to go with the other. But like, now that I look back at it, I'm like, wow, there's something wrong with that.
Is this too much to say? I think for Monica, too, a lot of it was in the background until we started doing this show 2.5 years ago because it comes up so often. We interview so many people. I mean, obviously, the majority of experts we interview, it's very eclectic. It's the UN,
It really is eclectic. You have
Yeah.
wide-ranging tastes.
So it comes up a lot, and I think Monica's done more exploration of it, and
Totally.
also having this like dating show she has, and how complicated her relationship with boys. Like it's all for Monica, just like at 31.
It's newer. It's
yeah.
new. But it's new because it was an active pursuit to distance. So it wasn't
Right.
like I just haven't thought about it. It's like I'm not thinking about that because that's not me because I'm this.
Right. I'm not a geek.
Exactly.
I am not going to be pre-med. I guess, were you not pre-med? Did you reject
no,
that
I was
too?
a theater major.
An actress. I mean,
I couldn't
come
have
on.
gone in the
Oh.
other. Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd that go with family? Was that good?
It wasn't the acting. It was the
Financial
lack of
security.
safety. It was a lack of safety. They didn't like
Oh,
want me to
oh.
do medicine necessarily or anything. They just wanted me to
Oh,
like.
that's open-minded.
They're
Oh,
That's-
there's no one I like talking to more than her dad. He is.
Are you all very close? Like are you like merged families?
I'm sleeping with her mother, if that's what you're asking. Yes.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
good. That's one way to get very
Yeah.
close.
That's
That's,
right.
she
Yeah,
really wanted to
that's right.
assimilate. So
Yeah, right. She's gonna go
have an American
right there.
affair.
The work that I do is on grit and effort, and there have been essays written about how that's racist, right? And so I've actually had some conversations with the people who wrote those essays because I was like, hi, I'd like to talk to you. I didn't intend this work to be denigrating of any group. And those conversations I've gotten into, like, what is racial identity? That's how I sort of started thinking about my own.
Could you make a non-straw man argument out of what they were trying to?
So a lot of the research that I've done has been in schools, and many, but not most, I think, of those schools are charter schools. First of all, many charter schools, not all, but many are like quite literally 100% non-white.
I send my daughters to a charter school that's predominantly not white. Yeah.
Oh, okay. In LA?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You send your kids to charter
I'd say
schools?
like 70% of the kids are on assisted lunch and stuff.
Yes. Wow, you are very unusual, by the way, though, right? Don't you think? Like your peer group is not
I think
like...
most of my peers do private school. I have a chip on my shoulder because I grew up poor, and I want them to be able to interact with all people, not just our rich bubbles.
That's good.
And that's not to say I won't change. If one of them has some extreme learning disability like I had, and that requires something, I'll change.
Right. Or if they're not doing well and like you feel like they need some other...
Can I say something really racy?
Yeah.
When I grew up, even though I was dyslexic and I had a really long journey to learning how to read and whatnot, once I got a handle on that, and in junior high, I was on the math team and stuff, at any moment, if I would have really dedicated myself, I could have finished in the top 10% of my anything.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And my wife is the exact same way.
Yeah.
Now, we went to all white schools in the suburbs of Michigan. Now, my kid goes to this charter school. They have the big end of year first grade thing. You come look at all the pictures on the wall, and they do an essay, right? Yeah. And of course, we go straight to our daughters because that's all we care about. And we're reading it. And, oh my God, she did it all. And then all of a sudden, I just zoom out and I go, oh, hon, look at the rest of the essays. The rest of the essays look like they had been typed. Like the penmanship was insane. The grammar was on point. The spelling was there. This is in first
Did they have
grade.
Clear theses?
Yes. And then I looked at the big board where you got stars next to your name in different disciplines, right? And I noticed, our daughters tied with all the boys, and then all the girls
are above
have like 80 more stars. And I said to my wife, one aspect of this experiment I had not anticipated is she'll never be in the top 10%. On this road where most of these kids are first generation and their parents are fucking pushing them, she's probably not going to be in the top 10%. Ultimately, I decided, I guess I don't care if she's in the top 10%, but it was something that deserved to be acknowledged.
Oh, that is so interesting. So, okay, I didn't answer your question, which is like this non-straw man argument. But first, can I, just out of curiosity, like what is the demographic of this school?
I would say it's predominantly Korean, first generation Korean.
She's going to school with Asians.
Oh, yeah. Most of her friends, she knows Korean words and stuff already.
If 70% are assisted lunch, that doesn't really add up to the Asian element.
No, poor Asians. There are poor Asians.
But I wouldn't say the majority.
But Angela's research challenges, on some level, this notion of privilege and opportunity and tutors and whatnot and IQ. Some of it gets challenged by her work. So
I taught in a high school in San Francisco that was, very, very, very Asian in its demographics. And I think the majority of those students were also free and reduced price lunch. So it's possible. Okay, so maybe I should start with what my research says.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So, and this I think has a lot in common with what people think of like the 10,000 hour rule and outliers. I think that the final common path to human achievement, whether it's creating a great film or writing a great novel or starting a company or solving, a math proof, the final common path is high quality, high quantity effort. Like, I don't think there are ways to do anything great, like literally in anything, without a ton of very high quality effort. So that to me is like my job as a psychologist is to reverse engineer then like, how do you get higher quality and how you get higher quantity? And it's not to say that these other things that people might talk about matter, like ability or IQ, but I do think that's like the final mile.
Yeah.
That's a claim, and I don't know if everyone agrees with it. I don't know if you agree with it, actually.
I think it's really relevant that it was something you started immediately observing at 27 when you left the professional world and became a teacher, and you were just noticing what scores were, and that's just an objective outcome of a math problem, and you were seeing no correlation between IQ and outcome of the tests.
I don't know if there's no correlation because also that was before I was a scientist and I wasn't doing statistics on my data. But I will just say this, put it this way. You walk into the classroom as a teacher in September, and it's very obvious that some kids are picking up that math so easily. They're like very mathematically able. Other kids, slower. They need 2 times or 3 times or 4 times to be given an illustration, an example. So obviously there are differences in ability, and there probably are in almost anything you can think of that human beings try to do, skiing, acting, whatever. So when you're a teacher, you think like, oh, I can predict what will happen in June. I think this kid who's like whippet smart is going to be the kid who's at the top. And this kid who needs a second, third, and fourth explanation, like, maybe they'll be at the bottom. And I guess the thing that struck me was at the end of the year, when I tallied up the final grades, it's not that, ability didn't have any relationship, but it was surprisingly small. And what came out that surprised me was how much some of these kids, despite not having like the highest ability, man, they got high quality, high quantity time on task. And that led to my understanding of achievement generally, beyond a middle school or high school math class. Like maybe your ability is different from your motivation. And maybe we should spend as much time talking to kids like, your own kids' age about like that very fact, so they don't count themselves out of things too early.
Right. Okay. So now I got to circle back just for 1 second to my first question, which is, what do you think it is about your personal journey that had you even interested in the notion of achievement and success and what are the building blocks of it? Were you pushed to succeed?
I'm going to speak about my own family. I'm not going to try to speak about like all Chinese families. I'm not going to try to speak about Monica's family. But in my family,
you could sum up 1.5 billion people, I'm sure.
Yeah, why not?
There's got to be one
everyone.
true statement about them. They all came from mothers, I guess.
yeah, right. No, I'll be a little more specific. In my family, achievement was hugely important. I think it's because my dad was a really domineering force in my family. I don't think my mom cared as much. Once my dad, we were getting into some kind of heated argument. This is like when I was I think it was when I decided to become a teacher, like soon after college. And he was very disappointed. So unlike Monica's parents, my parents were not as open-minded, and they really wanted me to like, quote unquote, at least get a PhD. And in this argument, my dad said, like, couldn't you at least be a senator? Like a U.S. senator, right? Like, so he had achievement as like front and center. And he honestly, he would much rather have been, and I asked him once, successful than happy.
Sure. Which again, getting back to Kahneman, that doesn't surprise me because that's the narrative self. And it doesn't, some people would trade the narrative self for the experiential self. And all of us do at times and not at other times, right? So,
but it's deeper than that, I think, with immigrants, because they literally do not know the difference. To them, one equals the other. It's one thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They're like, when you ask them, would you rather be happy or successful? It's true. Like my dad was like, I mean, it took him a while to first process the answer because he was like, happy, successful? Like, what do you mean? And then when I was like, happy, like in a good mood, like you're smiling, like, it's like you're laughing, whatever. Successful, like, you're famously successful. And yeah, hands down. And so he talked a lot about genius. He would like literally debate at the dinner table, like who is the greater genius, like Newton or Einstein? Like,
I love these debates.
They're really fun, but it's weird when you're like growing up and that's all you talk about,
Yeah.
So my dad was really obsessed with achievement, and he was always talking about like, I have these very successful cousins, like they're all really successful. And my dad loved to talk about these cousins. Anyway, so my dad was always comparing his kids to other people, either dead and historically famous or like alive and just better than us. So I'm sure that gave me a preoccupation with like, oh, what makes somebody successful? But by the way, I don't think it's the most important thing.
And can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
Were you ever in doubt of your own intellectual capacity and thought, oh, I can't fulfill this destiny he wants for me because I don't have the goods?
So I never thought of myself as like the smartest person in my elementary school, or even maybe even I don't even think I thought I was the smartest person in my homeroom, right? I think that would have been Michelle Rosen. She was probably smarter than me by far. So I don't think I ever thought I was dumb. But I didn't like look around the room and think like, oh, everything comes easily to me. We had a special education program, my public elementary school. And, as you know, like you can go to special ed because you're dyslexic, but you can also go to special ed because you test for gifted and talented. And
okay.
I tested in 1 year and then I think we moved and they tested me again. I was like, I was not smart enough. And then and then I like got back in. So I was borderline. So I never thought like, oh, I'm obviously a gifted and talented person, but I never thought I was stupid. And I now realize intelligence is something that like the more I study it, the less I understand it. But one thing I think is very hard to tease apart is intelligence and interest, right? Like if you talk to me about something that I am not interested in, I can be like genuinely extremely stupid. I mean, let's talk about history together and you're like, wow, you're not that bright. But if we talk about like, human behavior, which, and when I study things in my domain, everything sticks. It's like I'll read an article and I can like remember like, oh yeah, that was that paragraph. Do you feel that way?
Yeah. Yeah. I have that.
Angela and I are the same person.
You guys
We're the
are
same person?
Yeah, I think we might be. Yeah.
That's great.
Identical
Except
twins
I'm not
separated.
nearly as ironically successful, but
Well,
that's
no.
fine.
What is your do you have a long-term ambition?
Well, it was to be a famous actress,
Yeah.
Comedian.
Well, originally
What,
just
like
actress.
Kristen
Yeah.
Bell? like
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
like, kind of.
So I
Okay.
got. I'm writing shotgun to my dream.
Yeah, you're
basically.
close.
I'm
Yeah.
close. But I just mean as far as I also was in school and I was definitely not the smartest person at all, not even close. And I wasn't even categorizing myself as in the top intelligence level of people, but also I knew I wasn't dumb. And then I just was like, it's fine. I was
But
never
you got all
evaluating.
A's.
Dax, did you think you were smart?
No, I thought I was dumb. In fact, I was objectively dumb. Everyone else could read, and I could not read. And then I had one teacher, Mr. Wood, who recognized I was getting geometry much quicker than the other kids. And he pulled me aside and said, I'd like you to help the other kids learn geometry. And I was like, what? I know more about something? And then that just was an explosion. And then I just built on that. And then I joined the math team. And then I was like, oh, I'm pretty good at science.
But that was like the turning point. That was when you started to develop confidence.
1,000%. If Mr. Wood doesn't discover I'm good at math, who knows if I graduate or anything. But, I end up going to UCLA and I graduated magna cum laude and I did great. But I got better and better as I got older. You know what I'm saying? I think as I had more tools to cope with the dyslexia and every other thing. But great advantages came with the dyslexia. Just like what you're saying, I can retain. I know so much of what I learned 20 years ago in college that it shocks me. But again, I was taking it on so much slower than everyone else that I feel like it's stuck a lot better.
Yeah. Well, I think that this like complex dance between having some ability in something, right? But also having interest and then confidence, right? Like you can see how these are a virtuous cycle. Like you have a teacher who pushes up your confidence a little bit, that pushes up your actual ability. I think that is why when we say like, oh, how intelligent were you? It's very complicated. And it's like, it's truly like, right. The more I study it, the more I'm like, I don't even know what it is. There are these neuroscience studies that weren't done that long ago. They scan people's brains while they're in a state of high interest versus low interest. And like, first of all, when you're in a state of high interest, all the reward activity, like the dopaminergic parts of the brain, like light up. So it's rewarding to be in a state of curiosity and interest. And they learn better. So even when you induce curiosity and interest, like people learn better and they remember more. And this is why I say, like, I can be very dumb about things that I don't care about. And I can be extremely smart about the things that I do. And this is why when you think about like your own kids and they're, like I'm sure parents think like, oh, I wonder how smart they are about this or that. So much of it, like how much is even left over after you say like, yeah, but this is about how interested they are. Like, I don't even have, you know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. You've heard us talk about BetterHelp for a while, but I don't know that we've ever talked about how much people love this service when they use it. BetterHelp has an average live therapy session rating of 4.9 out of 5 based on over 1.7 million client session reviews. And you can check out the reviews yourself at betterhelp.com/reviews to see how much they love BetterHelp. Knowing that kind of service feedback from real people speaks for itself. I'm a huge proponent of therapy, as we've talked about before. I've learned so many things about myself that I believe truly only an outside, objective person could help me come to. BetterHelp makes it easy to get started. Answer a few questions, get matched with a therapist based on your needs, and switch therapists at any time if it's not the right fit. See the reviews, see what stands out, and see if BetterHelp is right for you. Visit betterhelp.com/Dax. That's betterhelp.com/Dax. This podcast is brought to you by Squarespace. We've talked before about Rob building our website on Squarespace, and I bring it up again because it's a perfect example of what they do well. Rob had all the pieces, the content, the vision, the ideas, but he needed something to actually take all that and make it public facing. And Squarespace was that bridge. Maybe you're in the same spot. You've been developing something, a business, a skill set, a body of work, and it's been private. It's been yours. But at some point, you're ready to put it out there, and that transition from private to public can feel like a huge leap. Squarespace makes it feel like a step. Beautiful templates, built-in SEO, email campaigns, scheduling, analytics, everything you need to go from "I've been working on this" to "here it is, come find me." All in one place, no code, no stitching together a bunch of different tools. So if you've been sitting on something and waiting for the right moment, this might be it. Head to squarespace.com/Dax for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code DAX to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. This episode is supported by Helix. All right, let's talk about something we both really care deeply about: sleep.
It's the most important thing. I've had my Helix mattress for years now, and I genuinely think it's one of the best investments you can make for your home. Mine still feels just like it did when I first got it.
Well, that's the thing. It's not one of those mattresses that caves in after 6 months. These things are built to last. And, I'm a side sleeper. I ordered a side sleeper and I get hot, so I have cooling. And I can't tell you how much more comfortable it is to be in there not sweating and tossing and turning.
Cooling is really important. I've read that you're supposed to sleep a little bit cold. So I also have cooling. And they have over 20 models, so it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. You just go take their quiz and they match you to what actually works for your body.
Plus, they've got cooling upgrades, which heading into summer, non-negotiable.
Truly.
Go to helixsleep.com/armchair for 20% off. That's helixsleep.com/armchair for 20% off. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. helixsleep.com/armchair.
Thank you to our presenting sponsor, HP, for supporting this episode. Parent, you've got enough on your back-to-school list right now. Ink cartridges do not need to be on it. They just don't. The HP Smart Tank printer uses a refillable ink tank and comes with up to 3 years of ink included. It's the last printer you'll ever need. To learn more, search HP Smart Tank.
So as you climbed through, you went to Harvard and then you went to Oxford. What was your pattern?
So like you, I went to public schools. Like you, I send my kids to public schools. One feature of that decision is that when you do go to a school like Harvard, there are kids who went to like Andover.
Sure.
And you sit next to them, you're like, oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
they're like 18, but they really, it's almost as if they had already gone to college, right? So
Yeah, well, the preparatory school really did prepare them for college.
maybe that's why they come preparatory school. And I went to a very solid, suburban, I went to like the 16 Candles kind of high school. So I learned other life lessons, but not exactly how to thrive at Harvard. So it was hard for me. I think a lot of people have this crisis, whether it's when you go to college or something, it's like the time you enter a bigger pond than the one you were in before. And I think that crisis you resolve in one of two ways, right? You either just get kind of, destroyed confidence-wise, Or for me, I was like, I don't know, for some reason, my reaction was like, okay, there are total geniuses here. There are also people who are just like miles ahead of me. It's like what I said about like not being Danny Kahneman. I will never be a Danny Kahneman, but that's okay. I can be an Angela Duckworth. So I just had some kind of ego defense where I was just like, all right, I'm just going to do my thing and I'm going to do it well. And it might be different. So when I went to Oxford, I went on a Marshall Scholarship. And the Marshall Scholarship, like half of the people who get Marshalls become professors. I think you have to have like a 3.8 even to apply. And it's very selective. And I remember we took the QE2 over. It was some like, I don't know, anniversary year of the scholarship. And they decided it would be fun to send us over on a boat. So I remember
the Queen Elizabeth too?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
wow. Did you run into John Adams?
No, I didn't. And I think actually my dad, I think told me that when he came to this country, he was on the Queen Elizabeth I. Or they probably just called it the Queen Elizabeth. They probably didn't call it the Queen Elizabeth.
Well,
they didn't know there was going to be a sequel. But
they would have had to be clairvoyant to do that.
They would have had to be, yes, very forward-minded. So I remember being on this boat, and I remember thinking like it was yet another pond where like it was like the next level of competition, right? And I was like, oh, so yeah, you know, and many of us in life, if you are successful, you get to more and more competitive things. You know, I think maybe what really happened is that like I learned to stop comparing myself. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So like, instead of being like, how big of a fish am I in this pond? How many other fish are there? Like, what can those other fish do? I just didn't ask that question anymore. And I think I did learn that in the college.
I think that's the
What
best.
a gift.
Yeah. As I always say, the only person you should be comparing yourself to is previous versions of yourself.
Okay. Me too. But do you do that?
I do that. And, you know, I was just telling Monica the other day, generally for the last 16 years, I have liked that comparison. And just recently, I was watching videos of me when the kids were 2 years old. And man, I never put them down. I was such a good dad. And I said to Monica, I can't say that I'm better than I was 4 years ago in at least that capacity. And it was weird because generally I feel like I'm making progress. And I don't think I did in that capacity.
It's still better to compare you with past you and like you want to be than to compare you with other people like in your peer group.
And I only compare, right? So I'd only compare myself to Brad Pitt. And naturally, I'm going to feel ugly when I do that. Anyone would.
Upward social comparisons. Yeah, that's why social media is so toxic, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Now, once you realize there's some other factor going on as far as predicting success, how does one study grit? Like, how did you take that on? How do you must have to invent metrics and you have to invent ways to measure this thing and define this thing. So what's that process like?
You know, some people think like, oh, you know, you can't measure happiness or you can't measure character or you can't measure grit or like, actually you can measure anything, but you can't measure anything perfectly. So how do psychologists like measure honestly any of those things that I just mentioned, extroversion, also happiness, all those psychological things? Most of what we do is really not great. You need to make questionnaires and then you have people fill them out. And questionnaires are just sentences on a page and you show them to people like, you know, I finish whatever I begin. Setbacks don't discourage me. And then they rate those sentences like on a scale from like, you know, 1 to 5, like how much they agree with them. That's kind of like the modern state of technology for most of psychological science, which, you know, admittedly isn't great because people may not be accurate, et cetera. But that's what I did. I wrote a grit scale based on my interviews with high achievers. And I tried to like write down in the scale the things that I heard in these interviews, you know, not only about how they describe themselves, because if I asked you like, oh, you know, Dax, how have you become successful? What do you think? You would probably, if you have any social intelligence, like you would be humble and then you would like have caveats. But if I asked you to describe Brad Pitt, like, why is he so successful? I mean, other than being physically perfect, like, and very smart, it seems to me. Though,
and he's super interested in life, like architecture.
So I
motorcycles.
Infer from reading Us Weekly, but you know, you can only get so.
I made my favorite book his favorite book because I read that he likes the Fountainhead the most, and so I read it and I'm like, of course he does.
The Fountainhead? Are you objectivist?
No, listen.
I haven't read it.
Don't. It's a great book. It's a great book.
It's very well written, actually, and it's very
well written. And Howard Rourke is the type of figure. all male, arrogant males would strive to be, which is they always knew what was right and everyone else had to catch up to them. So in an
They're
ego
smarter,
way, it's like
they're better. Yeah.
Yes. And then if they just stay the path and they never deviate and they don't take on new information or compromise, that they'll be rewarded greatly in the end for it. So
Yes,
I can see why it appealed to me.
Yeah.
I used to be a libertarian. I am not anymore, but there are certainly lots of merits to some of her arguments.
Yeah. Well, so for Monica's benefit, or maybe for, I'm guessing, some of your listeners.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
The Fountainhead, this novel, you should describe as your favorite thing. But like when I asked, like, oh, are you an objectivist? It's because the novelist, the writer, Ayn Rand,
Yeah.
it wasn't just a novel. It wasn't just like, oh, here's a good story to read. It was a fictional account of how it worked in order to express her philosophy of life.
Of
right?
selfishness.
Mhm.
Of selfishness.
I can tell you my own thoughts on it, which
Yeah.
is I do believe we can act collectively. I do believe we can be selfless. I do believe we can be compassionate. But I believe that it'll start originally by looking out of our own eyeballs and trying to meet our needs first. I do think humans are innately and inherently selfish. Now, I think you can acquire tools to make the outcome of your behavior better than that. But I do believe that selfishness does result in many of our best breakthroughs, many of our best health care options.
Give me an example of how you're selfish.
Oh, well, I was very committed to becoming an actor at the expense of probably being a good friend at times, at the expense of being a good partner to my girlfriend, at the expense, or let's put it this way. And I'm honest about it. I hear my daughter hurt herself in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
And she hurts herself in the kitchen every 25 minutes.
Yeah.
My first thought is, God damn it, am I going to have to get up and walk over there, or is this one going to blow over and I don't have to walk over, right?
So you're listening
that's-
for like the tone of
yeah,
cry.
and the first thought is not, oh, she's hurt. My first thought is how it's going to inconvenience me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I go, I'm a better person than that.
Right.
Get up and go see what's wrong. But what I'm saying is I have to step over my first thought, which is always selfish.
Right. Okay. How about this? My model of human beings is that you have multiple voices in your head, and I'm not talking about multiple personality disorder. I'm like, you have different, like you just said, like the first thing is like, God damn it. Like I was in the middle of something. And the second voice is like, gee, I wonder how my daughter's doing. Like maybe I should go help her. So how about this? Yes, we're selfish. I mean, the Ayn Rand, like, I read The Fountainhead when I was in high school. Monica, maybe your high school didn't, whatever.
It was in Georgia, so
They
we
were
can't
reading
say
Robert
very
E.
much.
Lee
Georgia.
biographies.
Yes, Georgia's a different place in New Jersey, so maybe you didn't. But like for a week, I also was objectivist. I was like, oh my gosh, this philosophy makes sense. Like we're selfish. If you pursue selfishness, that's actually what makes society great. It's where all the great artwork comes from. It's like the bridges, the buildings, like Howard works an architect, by the way, Monica.
It's been theorized it's basically based on Frank Lloyd Wright, right? That was her archetype.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think that he's
interesting.
supposed to loosely be Frank Lloyd Wright.
Oh, who was himself pretty darn selfish.
Yeah, I
Right,
mean,
by all
he could say
accounts.
like, you can't even pick out the furniture in this house. I will
No,
build
yeah.
the furniture for this house I designed because I know what's
Everything.
best. Yeah.
And then in all of his, romantic and personal relationships, like he was incredibly selfish. So here's
Yeah.
the thing. After a week of being an objectivist in high school, I was like, oh, wait a second. This isn't a complete account. Like, because there's another part of you, and maybe there's a delay. But like, I do really think young children, even when they are super young, and you probably saw this in your own kids, they have these very moral impulses. Like most kids,
Oh, yeah.
when they see another kid get hurt, like they don't have to be taught, like you should feel bad. They just do. And so part of us is deeply altruistic and
But
right.
can I make an argument?
Yes.
We are also a social primate.
Yeah.
Our survival, selfishly, depends on our ability to be empathic when necessary, sympathetic when necessary, to maintain these relationships that we know we need to survive.
Right. So you're thinking like these pro-social emotions that are like, they're just really instrumental for our survival. So everything
Yeah.
always comes back to like selfishness.
Yeah. And I don't
Yeah,
feel like
well-
we're paying a price to acknowledge that. I go like, okay, yeah, that's how we're hardwired. Now let's come up with some cultural layers that make us rise and transcend that. But I think you got to start by recognizing people need incentives. People are going to try to make themselves feel
Right. They're going to try to
comfortable.
make themselves better off. What's that Adam Smith, like hypothetical, like most of us would rather 10,000 people, die in another country than like us lose our little finger. So Yeah, I mean, you can make all these like philosophical arguments, but I will say this, like after that week of being an objectivist, where, like the strong view is don't listen to the voice in your head that says, oh, have sympathy for this, like that's not great. I think.
No, that's
like week 2, I was like, that's not a great philosophy.
that's repugnant. Yeah.
yeah.
And it also undercuts the notion that 99.9% of the people on planet Earth aren't Frank Lloyd Wright. So if we are all behaving like we're Frank Lloyd Wright, but we never design a great house, we've paid this huge price for really no reward.
Are the people that are really great, and I don't just mean like rich and successful in Hollywood, but just like the people that you maybe artistically respect the most, are they, in that sense, narcissistic? Are they like so self-absorbed and like always convinced that they're right or not?
No, the ones that I really admire and look up to are like amazing collaborators. And I think it's what ends up sustaining their career long beyond after they've given you their point of view. You can only ride on that for so long before you need to start collaborating, right? For inspiration. Right. But the thing I will agree with her on, though, is that I do think that when we assume everyone's capable of nothing, we will get that result. So she was a very big proponent of expecting a ton out of people.
Yes.
And I do believe in that. I believe people rise to the expectation you set for them.
Yes, that I would also agree with. And I think, have you guys talked about the placebo effect yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, in different contexts, usually just medically speaking. Just in general, the placebo effect is real. It's not
It
real.
is. It's like shockingly huge. Some people have studies where they're like, oh, I looked at all these like studies and I don't think it's real. But I think for the vast majority of physicians, they would say it's real. Also in therapy, which I don't know about Monica. I've been to therapy. I think.
Oh yeah, we're big proponents of therapy.
We're
on
all
this
thumbs
show.
up on therapy, but some theorists think that therapy is a placebo.
Oh.
And so like, what do they mean by that? I think some, it's certainly not all, psychotherapists would argue that what you're doing as a psychotherapist is you're giving people a strong expectation that things are going to get better
Yeah.
and that
Absolutely.
they're in control. And that is, arguably what the placebo effect is, that you think something's going to happen. And then, in one way or another, through your behavior.
Well, and that's to me what's still on the frontier, which is so exciting, is we don't actually then understand the metaphysical part of imagining your destiny and then arriving there. That there is some very weird booga stuff going on with what you think you can do and then somehow
So what's
magically.
I bet you've thought about this, like the kind of like Napoleon Hill, like, like say the future out loud, like, make it a
willing
reality. Like,
stuff
what do you,
in.
I've found that when my identity was I'm someone who protects people, magically I was in situations all the time where someone needed rescuing.
Yeah.
And my wife would even tell you, I would run into people like I'd run into a guy screaming at a woman at a stoplight, and I get involved, or at a
You like get out of your
grocery
car
store.
and you're
Yes,
like,
I get in the mix,
It's very
right?
dangerous. Yeah.
And so, well, thank you. So my wife
Yeah.
finally said, this thing you do where you think you're protecting people, the result of it is I feel more dangerous. I feel scared whenever I don't know what you're going to get into, and I feel scared. So it's having the opposite outcome as you think it is. And then once I said, okay, wow, that's new information and shocking and the opposite outcome I wanted, I said, I can no longer make that a cornerstone of my identity.
Interesting. Yeah.
And then lo and fucking behold, I don't ever see anything anymore. I haven't had to intervene with, in a long time.
Yeah, you're not seeing all these like victims everywhere.
Well, that's
Yes.
confirmation bias too.
Yes,
You're just
yes.
not receiving the information to confirm your
Yeah.
pre-existing
Okay.
idea.
So confirmation bias and the placebo effect have that in common, which is like whatever it is that you hypothesize is true, you selectively attend to that. So here's what when we're talking about attention a little bit, this is why attention is so fascinating. Everybody knows attention is limited. We're like, oh, I'm paying attention to you. I'm not paying attention, whatever, the clock ticking, the tree outside my window, the clouds in the sky. Yeah, there's a million things I could be paying attention to. But here's the point that I don't think is obvious. Our attention is so selective that it's as if we're seeing like a pinprick of light and everything else is total darkness.
Oh,
Because then that makes you think like, if you have the mindset of somebody who's a rescuer, then like your little tiny little pen light just like, searches reality, which is vast.
yes.
And like looks for all the details that make you, and then as soon as you're like not thinking that, that all goes black, and then you're got your little pen light on something else, and it just makes you realize how subjective and maybe not arbitrary, but just how limited human beings are able to like really process like the real world.
Yes, and that you are constantly in search of confirming your narrative, right? So are you married,
I am married to a guy named Jason
Jason?
for like 20 something years. Yeah.
Okay. I got a hunch he's a catch just based on chatting with you. But
Yeah, he's really cute actually.
okay, good. Good. Well, I have to imagine that being married, so my wife will go through a spell where I'm not helpful. Okay. So
That sounds like you go through a spell of just basically not being.
well, I have my
helpful, and
own narrative about her, but I'm going to just blast
Okay,
her. So
okay.
she'll have a story where I'm not helpful. So
Yeah.
naturally, she sees the 3 times in the day I was not helpful,
Yes.
which I
Okay,
am
yeah.
not. I am often not helpful.
Yeah, and she'll like zero in on them.
Yes, I'm often helpful though. I might even be more helpful than I'm not helpful. And but I
Yes.
guarantee she'll miss those 8 times I'm helpful because she's not looking to confirm that story about me. She's
Yes.
not going around town saying Dax is the most helpful spouse someone could have. So she doesn't need to confirm that.
Do you do the 3 blessings exercise?
No,
Mm-mm.
tell me that.
Okay, it also goes by a less religious term, which is the 3 good things, but you can call it what you want. Here's how it works. You think of 3 things in your life that you're grateful for. And they can be anything like, I'm so glad I've got an amazing life partner. I had a really ripe avocado today and I didn't trip when I was
Yeah.
running, but
Yeah.
I could have. Like, those are 3 good things. It's like the most reliable, they're called these positive psychology exercises because it makes people happy.
Yeah.
And it does so in a way that's like very sustained. So the reason I bring this up is that like, if you are starting to be in a bad way with your wife or husband, which
We all
live a
do.
long marriage, it's happened, right? I think what Monica's saying is exactly right. You have to get to this confirmation bias of like, there you go again. And like, I hate it when you do it. But what this 3 blessings exercise does is it rests your attention away from the negative, which by the way, we all have a bias toward negative events, like human nature. You were just talking about survival. We are biased to look at threats and bad things. And it just forces you to look at good things. And so when I get out of bed in the morning, 3 good things, it takes, I don't know, 15 seconds. And it just draws your attention away from the things that, could otherwise just ruminate about.
I love that.
You should try it.
Going back to grit, I just want to hear what's on the questionnaire.
Yeah. I'm sorry. This is a compliment to you. You're so interesting.
Okay.
You know about so many different topics that it's hard to stay.
I'm not
Yeah.
surprised you're doing a podcast with Stephen Dubner because you guys both have this
Yeah.
ability. We can just talk and talk and talk about 100 million topics.
I think that's our whole, you guys have a guest. We just talk to each other.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Okay, there's 2 halves of grit. The passion part is not just feeling intensely about like something that you love, but really what I've identified about the high achievers that I study is that they have a kind of long view. They stay loyal to the same, general direction of interest over years. So the opposite of this would be like passion that's like, oh, this year I'm going to be a, doctor. And then you come back and next year they want to be an architect. And then they've decided to become a singer, right? But gritty people are like, I am fascinated by human nature. And then you come back in a year and they're still fascinated. Like there's something that points them in the same direction. So there's a bunch of questions that are basically about that. So how do you guys rate on that? Like how much of a through line is there to the kinds of things that, you're working on and that you find engaging?
Well, what year are you here in LA? 8?
For close to 10.
Yeah, so Monica's stuck with this for 10 years, and I've stuck with it for 25 years. And 10 of those years, I didn't make 1 penny as an actor, and I just kept doing it with the personal motto of I'd rather fail at this than succeed at something I don't care about.
Because for you, there was like not anything that was like close to it as something that you would really want to do. Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, not a quitter.
But I will add, I've also been flexible and willing to embrace things that present themselves that are off my trajectory.
Okay, example. Give me an example.
My singular goal was to be Adam Sandler. Okay, I want to be a huge movie star
So
comedian.
you had that actually as like an explicit goal for a while.
It was for a while, and I knew the playbook. And then at a certain point, it became very obvious I was not going to reach that goal. That was not going to happen to me. I had many
And
shots
why?
at it. Well, I had many shots at
Well,
it. And
no, because you can't be Adam Sandler.
Well-
You're not Adam Sandler. So that goal was not an achievable goal in the first place. So of course you didn't achieve it, that you couldn't achieve it. Just like you can't be Danny Kahneman. Those people are their own people.
I agree with you.
So you couldn't be that. You still.
But I had to listen to who I was if I wasn't Adam Sandler, I guess. I had to get
so
off
what
of
was
that
the
goal.
what was the new goal after you were like, oh, I can't be Adam Sandler? What replaced that?
Writer-director.
Which is
you
still
wanted to
what
be
Adam Sandler is, by the way.
Well, he's not a director and he's not really a writer.
No, but my point is your goal never changed. Your ego changed. But the whole time you were trying to be successful at this
Show
field.
business.
Yes.
Yeah.
So human goals are hierarchical in that, like, whenever I say, like, okay, I got myself a Coke. Like, why did I get myself a Coke? Well, because I was thirsty. Like, well, why do you need to quench your thirst? It's like, well, because, I want to be hydrated. Like, it's like hierarchical in that every goal serves another goal until you get to the top when there's like, it's an end in itself, right? So I guess I wonder, like, these goals that you had, like, I want to be a Adam Sandler, I want to be like a great writer director. Was there a goal above that? Like, if I said why, would you say there is no why? It's just an end. Or is there something deeper? Like, I want to like entertain people. I want to be a great entertainer. Like, is there a more abstract, higher level goal that you could articulate?
Yeah, there was two. There was the ego. I want to be recognized in this business as having been very successful. And
Yeah.
then there was the experiential. If I'm the director and writer, I get to work with exactly who I want. And I love to collaborate and I love process when I'm with the people I respect and like. So there was this very real and I'd say earnest and admirable motivation to just work with the people I love because the
Like the
experience
best
is so
people
fun.
and the great. Wouldn't you say that this podcast serves the same goals? Like, your ego needs, perhaps, I want to work with the people that I want to work with who are really great and fun. I might be forcing this.
No, you're not. You're
Right?
not. You're dead on because I am blown away that I get to talk with all these people that I read their books and I'm obsessed with their thoughts. So yes,
Interesting.
it is the pure part of why I wanted to make movies is almost entirely present in this.
So my theory of really gritty people, and when I talk about like passion that extends in time, it's not that like I come back and I'm like, well, if you're not a podcaster in 10 years, then you're not gritty. It's more like that higher level abstract goal, which by the way, I don't find that not everyone has like articulated it verbally and like written it down. Sometimes it's like almost unconscious, but there is something that points in the same direction. And the reason I think that's part of achievement is that, it really does take a lot of quantity and a lot of quality to do anything. And when people change directions over and over again, which a lot of people do in life, there's nothing morally wrong with it, but I don't think they get close to greatness because they keep starting over.
Yeah.
And the other half of grit, if Monica asked like about the grit scale, the other half of the questions are about perseverance. So once you are pointing the same direction, how hard are you working, right? Are you resilient? One of the questions on the scale is like, I am a hard worker. Another one is, I finished what I began. I have a bias to completion.
Yeah.
So I think that probably is true of both of you.
Well, no, I was going to say, as you were describing that, I was like, oh, that's great. Because the first part of your questionnaire, I think favors me. And then the second part, I really think favors Monica.
Well,
Where,
I think the first part also favors me because I think just the goal of personal exploration.
Yeah, big time.
Oh, is that your top level goal? Like personal
I think
exploration?
so. And I do think that's a
interesting.
through line in everything I do and everything I've done. And also accomplishing challenging things for myself. So like even with cheerleading, like I couldn't do a back tuck and I like pushed and pushed and pushed. And that was the sole goal. And then I did that, And so transcending what I thought was a limit is also a overarching goal, I think, for me.
How confident are you, like, if I interviewed you when you're 42, that you would be like anywhere close to as successful as these like people that you happen to be riding shotgun with? Like, do you think you're going to be like really, really successful?
Yeah.
I do too. Monica's on the show. People came to know her on this show. She had her own show that has nothing to do with me on our platform, and it's just as big as the show. So she already did, and her show that didn't involve me.
What's your show?
Was just as
sorry
big.
that I should know.
By the way, didn't involve him. It's still under the Armchair Expert umbrella.
No.
What do you mean no?
It's
Yes.
called Monica and Jess Love Boys. It has nothing to do with me.
Oh, I
it's their
love that
dating life.
title.
Thank you. But it is under the Armchair umbrella. You're on episodes, you produce it, whatever, you're being dumb. But it's all part of the same world. But it was my show with our friend Jess, and it was about our dating lives, but really it was about our vulnerabilities.
Yes.
And we had relationship experts on
Wait,
every
is
week.
this in the
and they
past
gave us-
tense? Is it not?
Yeah, it
like,
was a 10-episode thing. We might do another season at some point, but we did like a 10-episode run.
It ended like 3 months ago. Let me just add, what the fun premise of it is Jess has fucked every single person he's ever looked at, and Monica's
and he's gay.
and Monica's never had a boyfriend. So
Jess
you
is
have,
a guy.
Yes.
yeah. And so you have two people who are not currently where they ideally thought they would be or want to be, and they have opposite versions of why they're in that spot, and then they just earnestly set out to explore why. And Esther Perel comes on and tells,
Again, couldn't have been more of a personal exploration podcast, but yeah, we had all these experts on who we talked about relationships, and then they gave us challenges at the end of each episode that we had to complete by the following episode.
So it's
It
like
was
reality
super fun.
TV in
it's
a podcast.
fantastic, but with elevated like Esther Perel's on, and
Yes, right.
Dr.
She's
Drew
great.
and all these great people who know about everything.
So you think that she'll be successful because she's like,
She just bought a house across the street from my house, so I think she's.
Well, I
Oh.
guess that's what
pretty boss.
that's what I was gonna say. It's a kind of weird question to answer, and this is maybe my own ego and my own arrogance, but I also know my place in their world.
Yeah.
I know what I've given.
big time.
Like I sort of had this realization recently when talking to my therapist, placebo
Yes,
effect.
therapists are great.
And we were talking about, I was probably bitching about some work thing. And she was like, well, you need to remember sometimes, because I give them our relationship, as we've said earlier, he's fucking my mom. It's all very complicated.
It's very complicated.
The three of us have a very milkshake blender relationship. We're all in each other's lives 24/7. And also, they have more power than me. They're my employers. And I was talking to my therapist about this, and she was like, but you need to remember that you're an incredibly capable person who would be successful at anything you did. You've given them your career. You could give anyone your career.
Yes, right. In other words, you do have power. Yeah,
Exactly.
Like
was
you
her
have.
point.
Yeah,
Like you're offering something too. You forget that.
She's not exaggerating. Both, and I don't say this lightly. She and I would have both been canceled for much different reasons without Monica in the mix. That's for real.
Interesting. So
Monica
she's your
edits
super
this
ego.
podcast. Yeah, she's the super ego, big time. I'm the id of the family. Kristen's kind of in
the
the
ego.
middle. Yeah.
She could be the ego, and it's a good thing, right? In the Freud
Yeah.
sense.
Thank you for the free session.
I know.
By the
I'm
way,
not clinical. I'm like just asking as a researcher.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
We are supported by HP. If you're a parent or you know one, like I do, or you can help take care of kids, you already know what August feels like. It's not summer anymore, it's the pregame. The supplies list, the forms, the we need this printed by tomorrow texts that come in at 9 p.m. And I say this as someone who's been on the receiving end of those texts in a former life. You're ready to help, and then the printer says no, out of ink, blinking at you, useless. It's such a small thing, but it will absolutely derail your night. So when I heard about the HP Smart Tank printer from HP, America's most trusted printer brand, I thought this is the kind of thing that actually makes life easier, not in a big flashy way, in a one less crisis way. Instead of those little cartridges that run out the second you need them, the HP Smart Tank uses refillable ink tanks, and it comes with up to 3 years of ink included. 3 years. That's 3 back-to-school seasons without the cartridge panic. HP can't fill out the forms for you, but they can make sure the printer is never the reason you're up past midnight. Search HP Smart Tank.
We get support from Apple Gift Card. Back to school is here, and for many, that means some big life transitions. Whether they are heading into a new grade or setting up a dorm for the first time, you want to give them something that actually supports their growth and success. Apple Gift Card is a versatile solution because it takes the guesswork out of gifting. It's not just about a new pair of AirPods for focus. It's about giving them the invaluable chance to choose the digital tools and subscriptions that suit their unique journey. They can use it for productivity apps on the App Store, movie nights on Apple TV, or extra iCloud storage for all those new memories. With Apple Gift Card, it's so empowering to give the students their freedom to allocate their own resources. Celebrate their new academic chapter. Visit applegiftcard.apple.com to celebrate their milestones and gift one today. We are supported by Auto Trader. All right, if you've been putting off car shopping because it sounds like a whole thing, buying your car online on AutoTrader makes it way easier, really. You can shop tons of cars online, compare prices, check financing and trade-in options, all from wherever you are. And if you want to start online and go to the dealership for a test drive, you can do that too, really. What I like is the flexibility. Start online, finish at the dealer, or the other way around. Your info stays with you, so you're not starting the process from scratch. Plus, you're working with local dealer listings, so you've got real people helping behind the scenes. And when you're ready, you can pick up your car or have it delivered. Really. Buy your car online on AutoTrader. Really. This episode is brought to you by SoFi, the all-in-one finance app where you can bank, borrow, and invest all in one place.
Let's talk bank accounts for a second. The average bank savings rate is 0.39% in interest. You're earning pennies on your savings, but it does not have to be that way.
With SoFi high-yield checking and savings, the money barely making moves sitting in your savings account can earn over 8 times the national average savings rate with eligible direct deposit.
No account or overdraft fees, which feels rare these days. You can get your paycheck up to 2 days early, perfect for getting ahead of a bill or grabbing what you need right when you need it.
Plus, get up to a $300 welcome bonus when you sign up with eligible direct deposit. Sign up for SoFi checking and savings at SoFi.com/armchair. SoFi checking and savings is offered through SoFi Bank N.A., member FDIC. Terms apply.
Recognizing the components of grit, I do want you to tell me, and I know it's
Yeah.
very nebulous, how we induce grit into our kids. So I always think, God, I almost hope one of my kids is dyslexic because I feel like that ended up being the greatest thing that ever happened to me in many ways. Do you ever step back even another 20,000 feet up and say, what the fuck is success and who gives a shit? And why am I even trying to figure out the things that could result in it? And is it even worth pursuing? And is it just a product of capitalism? And are we so brainwashed by our society that we think success is worth sacrificing for? I would say fulfillment is a great goal.
Fulfillment is a great goal, and I don't think achievement is synonymous with fulfillment.
Right.
But I think it's part of it, right?
Yeah.
I think human beings are all ambitious. You know, when I was growing up, I thought like, I don't know, maybe like 5% of people are ambitious and like 95% are. I think everyone's ambitious. I think the drive to do something with your very short time on this planet is universal. So I'm not like backing off on, you know, trying to study human achievement, reverse engineer it, and help people become more successful, but it's not the same thing as fulfillment because fulfillment is more than that. So I think there's two other things that are different from achieving your goals, and they're very important. Honestly, I'm just going to say, like, I hope for my own kids and myself that why not try to do all three. So probably the most important thing is relationships. I think when people are really unhappy, it's almost always because they are lonely or they don't feel like they belong. And even Maslow, when he wrote about the hierarchy of needs, said that, you know, to some extent, this hierarchy isn't, and by the way, he never used a triangle. It's like just our own interpretation of it. So it's like, you know, that we have multiple needs. And he even said for many of us, like, you know, we would rather have love than something to eat. So anyway, I think we have social relationship needs, like interpersonal needs. I would call those like, you know, we need strengths of heart to like fulfill that part of ourselves.
Yeah.
The second thing is that's different from that and is also not the same thing as achieving goals. There's a 3-part checklist. I said achieving goals is important, but also relationships. And third thing is, I think like imagination and creativity, basically the life of the mind. I think for a lot of us, it's like feeling like you have control over like what you think about and you have choice in life, like you have autonomy. If I have these 2 teenage girls who grow up and they are achieving goals, but they're also like in really positive relationships, like with other people and also like society, which they have an obligation to help make better. And then they have like real autonomy and like an imagination and like they're intellectually open-minded. That's really what I think thriving is. And that's why all parents, I hope, don't just think about grit and like delay of gratification, because like that's only one part and probably the least important part of thriving.
Well, but I would argue that grit is also required in self-exploration, in pursuing emotional goals, and in pursuing spirituality.
And relationships. I mean, these things are very
like people give up on relationships really easy. People give up on themselves really easy. They set New Year's resolutions, and then 2 months later, they don't think they can do it. So grit, I do think, can apply to the other areas of our life that have nothing to do with capitalism.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I think there are these kids who grow up, and maybe you feel this way about like the people that you really like to collaborate with, including Monica. Like they are all of those things that I just described. It's like they're getting stuff done, but they're such great people, and they like, they're honest, and they like really empathic people, but they're also creative and imaginative and open-minded. And I don't think it's a coincidence that in my data, I find that these things are really correlated, because I think when you are raised in a challenging but supportive family and society, honestly, these things are weaving together, braiding together, reinforcing each other. And that's what I think parents are looking for. And by the way, the opposite is also possible. When kids are not in a supportive and challenging circumstance, you can have the development of none of those things.
Is there any quick tips for grit?
I think you should be a role model. I mean, an intentional role model. For example, like a lot of us are talking about race in this country. If you say one thing at the dinner table about race and your kids watch you interact with people of other races, and like they see another value system, like, you say one thing and do another. So when I say like you should be an intentional role model, is I think you should be reflective, and you should just understand that you're modeling. I think understanding that like your kids are watching you all the time.
You're right.
You.
If they see you give up on every diet, they see you give up on household chores, if they see you calling sick to work, if they see all these things, they know.
They know. And like when I wrote Grit, like my kids were younger and they saw me cry a lot. Well, I mean, they saw me say that I was going to give up and like go to bed. But when they woke up the next morning, mommy was at the computer trying to write her book again. And I think that was really important. So they didn't see perfection. They saw vulnerability, but they also saw like, oh, she got back up again. I guess that's how it works. So yeah, the quick tip is modeling. I mean, really, those that like, so be a role model of all the things you want. You want them to be kind, be kind. You want them to be forgiving, be forgiving. You want them to be gritty, be gritty. But the supportive and demanding thing looks like this, especially for kids like yours who have, parents who are privileged, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so you're probably very supportive, is my guess. You're warm, you respect their opinion, you provide for them. But the demanding part is, and I think this is hard for all parents, but sometimes it can be very hard for parents of privilege, they have to be asked to do things that they can't yet do. It's like if you raise a kid who's never asked to do things that they can't yet do, then they will never grow. And so I think that is a challenge for a lot of connected, able parents.
You're right. A lot of us think like somehow through osmosis, us preparing their meal every single time they're hungry, that they're going to somehow magically know how to prepare their meal. It's like, well, why? When would they do that? Why would they do that? I don't believe in telling your kids they're great. I believe in providing
them
opportunities that they can discover they're great.
They can discover it, right? Yes. Yeah. Okay, as they get older, I would just recommend outsourcing. As they get older, I think that, well, it's just that I think that like being the person to be like structuring things for them to do that are always challenging, like, just beyond, like just an inch beyond what they can do is like what great coaches do. Like if they sign up for a team, if they do like some other activity in school, like a great teacher. But I think it's very hard to like, I was not very good at this. So I just outsourced it. Like, I was like, just took my daughter to ballet class. Right. And like, that's why parents sign up kids for all these activities. It's like you're outsourcing supportive but demanding adult relationships.
Well, yes. Oh my God. So this couldn't be more in what's going on currently, right? So we just found out LAUSD is shut down for fall.
Remote for the fall, right?
Yes. And we just did 2 months of Zoom. Okay. I'm a 0 at it. Like out of 10, I'm a 0. And my wife is infinitely better at it than me, but she's a 6 at best, right? So I said, look, man, we have the resources. I'm going to hire a teacher to do this year.
Yes, that is a great idea.
Right? I'm like, because they don't listen to us, nor
not gonna
should
listen to
they.
you.
They're never going to. It's going to hurt them. It hurts us. And we're in a position to do it. So why wouldn't we just get a fucking professional in the mix?
Yeah, I would say like get a professional if you can. And here's an idea. There are a lot of college students who are not thrilled that they too are supposed to be doing remote. And honestly, I think they're, when you are 19 and you're with like a 6-year-old or 7-year-old, I think they're sometimes so much better at it. They're like, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's like, I know you're having a tantrum, you'll be fine. Like, they're just better.
None of my kids' failures are running through their identity filter where their failure is an extension of
Your failure,
incompetence.
your ego.
Yes, there's too much at stake in the
It's
whole
too complicated
scenario.
for you. That's why I say to outsource it. And I do think outsourcing the education of your young daughters to like a gap year college student, like
Yeah.
you take that suggestion back and you guys can decide. But I think it's a pretty good one.
I like you. What is the name of your new podcast? Or is it even new? It's newish.
No stupid questions.
And everyone loved Dubner, so we put you two together, and
Yeah.
I can't imagine why anyone would not go.
He's a great guy. He's
He
mostly why
is.
I'm doing it. I'm like, okay, I'll talk to you every week. That sounds good.
So it's once a week.
Apparently, I was like, oh, when does the season end? And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, like podcasts come in seasons, right? And he was like, no, this is a weekly podcast. I literally didn't know that until very recently, but now I know.
All right. Well, we're in love with you, and we're going to talk to you again.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, and I will see you soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Hello. And now my favorite part of the show, the fact check with my soulmate, Monica Padman.
This episode is brought to you by ServiceNow. Look, I have my dream job. I get to talk to folks I admire like crazy and ask them virtually any question that I want to. I can't imagine a better way to spend my time. But even dream jobs have some not so dreamy parts, the stuff that gets in the way of the actual work. Now, that's where ServiceNow's AI specialists come in. They don't just tell you what you should do about your busy work. They actually do it, start to finish. Cases closed, requests handled, no extra work for you. So you and your team can focus on what matters most, which for me is, are they obsessed with male bodies on the same level as I am?
They never are.
To learn how to put AI to work for people, visit servicenow.com.
Welcome
To the fact check.
to the fact check.
Hi,
How you doing?
Ray. I just had a matcha.
You had like half a matcha, let's be honest. And you've been having half a matcha since we got here at 10 a.m. and it's 2:13 p.m.
Now I'm past. I can't drink anymore.
Ugh.
Well, I can't because now it's too close to the evening.
I love what a caffeine lightweight you are.
Yeah, I mean, I can't drink any caffeine except matcha,
Mm-hmm.
and even still, sometimes it's too much.
It's just too much.
yeah.
Yeah.
I get go a little bonkers. But as I was saying, and this is an update.
Oh, good.
So I've been on these antidepressants
Yeah.
for almost a month now, at least 3 weeks. And I think they're doing a lot of things I want them to do.
Yeah.
I feel much less irritable.
I'd say, I mean, it's dangerous to say
No,
I've
you can say
noticed
it.
that.
Yeah, that's
because
fine.
that's not to say I thought you were irritable.
Well, I was. I knew I was. I could tell that something was wrong because of that. Because I was like, things that wouldn't normally bother me this much are. And it's hard for me to know, which I think maybe a lot of people might have this issue. I don't know. But, I have a lot of opinions
Yeah.
and I have a lot of thoughts on things. And I'm kind of high strung.
Yeah. And I think when you're depressed, like obsessive thoughts.
Yeah. But see, it's hard for me to know when it's extra or when it's just me, because that's my personality as well. Like,
That's right. That can't go away with a pill.
and I don't want it to.
Of course not.
But I want the excess to go away. And
Yeah.
it took me a long time to realize there was excess and it wasn't just my regular personality.
Right.
I have noticed that edge is just rounded a tiny bit.
Yeah.
And that's really all I wanted. Last week, I was sad about something.
Mm-hmm.
And for a second, I was like, oh, they're not working. And then I was like, no, I'm still going to be sad
Yeah.
if things are making me sad. And I should be sad if something's making me sad. So that's actually a good sign.
Yeah.
I'm able to feel things as they really are.
Yeah. The goal's not being emotionless.
No.
Yeah.
I don't want that. No. Anyway, so point is, I think they're doing a lot of good and I'm excited. Also, I have zero energy.
Right.
I have very, very little energy. I'm really tired. And so I've been increasing my matcha uptake.
Mm-hmm. Well, welcome to my world. It's just a bunch of like any non-narcotic upper I can be on, then any non-narcotic depressant, just regulate it. It's fine. I'm doing fine.
It is. And Kristen just read the new Michael Pollan.
I want to read it.
Me too. I don't know if it's a book so much as like a long essay or something because it's 2 hours audio, but it's like on caffeine
Mm-hmm.
and basically all these doctors who are sleep study doctors do not intake caffeine. And I was like, oh, I feel good. I'm not someone who has to struggle with that or has to think like, oh, should I get off of it? But now I kind of am.
Well, it'll be an easy getting off of it. You've had a half cup of matcha in 6 hours.
I know, but I need energy. Anyway, so that's sort of my update.
That's a positive update.
I think it is.
Yeah.
What other updates? What, do you have any updates?
Updates. Well, my son's leaving today.
Yeah. So Aaron Weekly, we talked about before, is in town. Now, people don't get too mad at us because he drove.
Yeah. He drove. Well, he got a test. He and the 4 children he brought all
Yep.
got tests before they left. And they didn't interact with anyone. Then they were in our pod. Then they didn't leave our house.
That's
and now they're returning back to Michigan.
And they drove from Michigan.
God bless him. I don't know how he
with
did
4
that.
kids.
Yeah, 8, 9, 13, and 13. I
Oh,
think.
what
And-
a saint.
Yeah, and he said it went swimmingly. Also, I got him on MeUndies, which I said in an ad.
That's right.
He's fucking loving those. We were watching Succession outside last night,
Yeah.
and he was laying on his belly and he itched his butthole. I could see him
Oh,
itch his
wow.
butt. I don't want to say his hole, but pretty close to his butthole.
Okay.
And he goes, "Oh, I even like how it feels when I itch myself in these underwear."
Wow.
And I was like, "Yeah, because you're feeling that micromodal squish around."
That's right. 3 times softer than cotton.
Oh yeah, and he could feel it on that scratch.
Oof. I love a MeUndie. You know I sleep
Yeah.
with them every night.
Yeah. Although, didn't you say you took the bed in the raw the other night in the
I
Brooklynies?
did do a nude sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I do a nude sleep.
When I do that, weirdly enough, I did it last night.
Oh, okay.
Because Aaron's in town, our kids are sleeping at the foot of our bed on a little pad. And then so Kristen was asleep, the 2 kids are asleep, and I thought just crossing to my closet was going to be too disruptive to get my boxer shorts because I wear MeUndies all day, but then I sleep in boxer shorts
Sure.
to air my ball sack out.
Okay.
And I thought, well, I'm not going to do that. I'll just sleep nudie.
Right.
The
Patootie.
problem is it can be distracting. Like when I roll over on my side, now I might have like nuts between my thighs or penis between my thighs, and then I've got to pull it all out from between my thighs. And so I just run the risk of waking myself up by belvedering myself, basically.
Sure. I don't run into that problem.
Right. Well, I
Although
wonder though if your
boobs,
boobs
yeah,
flop
yeah.
around and wake you up.
They don't.
You ever get like hit in the face with one while
Oh
you're
my
rolling
God.
around?
Oh my God. Mine are not so loose that they're hitting me in the face.
Well, okay. There'd be nothing wrong if they were.
There'd
There's
be
a beautiful-
absolutely
low
nothing
hangers are
wrong.
beautiful too.
Everything's beautiful. But
Yeah.
mine are
A different kind of beautiful.
Mine are not the kind that are hitting me in the face. Though you are like
Your arm, right?
smushing. You are smushing them
Yeah.
a bit. Sometimes I don't like it because I'm like, what if I am like stretching them out or something?
Yeah, you want to preserve their buoyancy.
But that doesn't really make any sense. I don't sleep in a bra. The shirt isn't doing anything.
Oh
for
God,
me.
no structural support there.
So it's a mental game, really.
Yeah. I do not worry about my penis becoming saggier or my balls when I sleep in the raw or in
Yeah.
a boxer panty.
Yeah, but women are
Yeah,
You know, they're fu-
evaluated by
they're
the perkiness
that's
of their
right.
boobs.
Yet another thing
Mhm.
that is not fair.
It is not. What's really not fair, if I can say it, is that the reward for making their body a filling station for a human
Yes.
is that it changes your boobs forever.
That's
That
right.
feels uniquely mean from Mother Nature.
Exactly.
Like you should be rewarded with bigger, fluffier tits if that's what you're in the market for. Whatever you're in the market for, that's what you should have after breastfeeding 2 kids.
you should
a
have
big
whatever
reward.
body you want right after you have
yes.
a baby. I totally agree.
Mhm.
But you know what? This is interesting. I wonder if this is, well, it's obviously physical. They're draining fluid out of your breast.
Yeah.
But evolutionarily, maybe, because remember when we had David Sinclair on and he was saying evolutionarily, it's very hard to give birth. It's hard on the woman's body.
Yeah. Our heads are too big.
Right. Obviously, in history, many women died in childbirth. So that's partially why there's a shorter range of time a woman can produce eggs.
Yeah, like it could literally break an 80-year-old's hips to pass a
Exactly.
10-pound baby
Evolutionarily.
through there. Yeah.
So I wonder if the boob sagginess has to do with,
They want you to retire them.
yeah.
Or incentivizing getting more pregnant again. Because you get pregnant, and even if your boobs got saggy after the first one, you get pregnant again and they get big and plump again. And so maybe you desire your boobs to be big and plump. I'm going too far.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's possible.
One time on Oprah, like I must have been 10, and I've never forgotten this. It was an episode on like bras or something. She was talking about sagginess. She said that if you put a pencil under your boob and it stays, that's a bummer.
I don't know. That's a very high bar.
It's an incredibly high bar.
Yeah.
This was probably the year 2000. Things have changed, okay?
Yeah.
But I have never forgotten that, and I do sometimes do it.
You do?
Yeah.
And does it hold a pencil? It must.
I haven't done it recently, but it wasn't holding a pencil the last time I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But it
Congratulations.
has been a bit. Maybe I'll try it tonight.
How about a beer can? Now that's a fair measurement. Like if your boob can hold a full unopened beer can, then yeah, they're probably
Guys, bodies are beautiful, especially the ones that are a milk station.
Yeah, a fueling station.
Your story about being nude, you started it by saying the girls are at the foot of your bed. So it started off weird. Can I just say that? It started off like, so I decided to be nude because the girls were in my room and they're at the foot of my bed. So I decided to be nude for
and
that.
they prefer that I sleep nude. Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
So
Just
don't
calling
edit
that
out
out.
the part where I explained they're on a pad on the floor.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to wake them up. Also, they see me naked all the time.
At what age do you think you're going to stop that? I think a lot of parents wonder about this.
I wonder about it. You know, I guess for me, it's like they're not sexual beings yet. That's just those hormones haven't come yet.
How do you know?
Well, because I know when I thought, well, I can tell you, like when I was a kid, my brother would watch this one porno my dad had. And to me, it looked like a homicide.
But that's you and that's boys. And girls are.
Well, give me 1 second.
Okay.
I don't know. I would argue little boys are hornier. No? Well, it doesn't matter.
No.
The point, I'll just tell my own story. It looked like a homicide. It looked like a homicide for a couple years. Then I clearly remember I was walking down the stairs and I saw that same porno. I was like, that looks kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And I didn't do anything other than I got new hormones.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I guess I feel like once the girls are starting to have like hormones and having sexual thoughts, they will not want to see me naked.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I didn't think about seeing my mom naked until I started having weird feelings. And then I was like, oh, I don't want to see that. I now know the utility of that whole setup.
Sure.
And I don't want to be recognizing that my mother has those parts.
But there's probably stages, right?
Let's start from one thing. Humans for 100,000 years didn't have clothes.
Yeah.
So there's nothing natural about being clothed around your children as an animal on planet Earth. So I have to start by just saying we are designed to be nude around each other.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we live in an age where there are clothes.
So to me, it's like whenever they are uncomfortable about the fact that I'm naked, you also see these European families. So you go to a park in Germany, the whole goddamn family's naked in the park. And I'm like, it's cultural. Whatever our weird, again, I do not want to see my mom naked. And yet if I had grown up in Germany or France, I probably wouldn't give a shit. So it has to be cultural.
Sure. But I've seen in your children that they have flirtations, that there are boys that they're kind of in, that they like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so I do think there is something happening in them. Now, I don't think they're putting together penis.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
They think I have like I'm an elephant and I have another device to breathe from or something. It doesn't, they're not that, it's not a sexual organ to them yet.
Right.
It's just an appendage that is goofy looking coming off my body and they don't understand why there's hair around it.
Yeah.
The whole thing is just a goofy mystery to them.
Sure. But I'm saying as far as hormones and stuff happening, it is happening. It just, they haven't put the pieces together literally and physically.
That's what I'm saying is I think once they realize that thing will get hard and be used for coitus, it's time to put a robe on probably.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess you're right. You can kind of let them
Dictate.
Okay, Angela. Duckworth.
Oh, Angela. Boy, did I like her.
Yeah, she was wonderful. We were saying after the fact, because she has this podcast with Stephen Dubner, who we loved from Freakonomics. And we were saying what a fun podcast that must be, because they just have so many thoughts in their head.
Yeah.
And both this episode and our episode with Stephen were so meandering in a fun way.
Yes.
We covered so many different things. Their podcast must just be all that. And I bet it's great.
Cannot wait to listen to it.
Same. So she said Outliers is an outlier. Bestseller list collective 5 years, 270 weeks. Okay. So published in 2008, Outliers debuted at number 1 on the bestseller list for the New York Times in the US and the Globe and Mail in Canada. Okay, it came out on November 18th.
Mhm.
It was on the bestseller list the next week, November 28th, holding the position for 11 consecutive weeks. Between 2011, when the paperback version was released, and February 2017, the book made the New York Times bestseller list for paperback nonfiction 232 times.
Holy smokes. How much money do you think he's made off of this?
I hope a lot.
Me too.
He deserves
He
it.
deserves it.
Yeah.
He's so dang special.
Yeah, we love him. Okay. So first generation, you were very adamant that you knew.
Yep.
And let me tell you, you don't. Because there's
Oh,
really
boy.
very little consensus. Like most of the
Oh,
things you
okay.
read say it's very willy-nilly.
Uh-huh.
So here's what I found.
Okay.
The term first generation immigrant refers to an immigrant, a foreign-born resident who has relocated and become a citizen or permanent resident in a new country. Okay, we could have guessed that. That's yeah. There are 2 possible meanings of the adjective first generation according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary. First generation can refer to a person born in the U.S. to immigrant parents or a naturalized American citizen. Both types of people are considered to be U.S. citizens. The U.S. government generally accepts the definition that the first member of a family to acquire citizenship or permanent resident status qualifies as the family's first generation. But the Census Bureau defines only foreign-born individuals as first generation. Birth in the United States is therefore not a requirement, as first-generation immigrants may be either foreign-born residents or U.S.-born children of immigrants, depending on who you ask. Some sociologists insist that a person cannot be a first-generation immigrant unless they were born in the country of relocation, but this is still debated. So there's a lot of mixed
Wishy-washy.
messages.
Yeah, we just don't really know, do we?
We don't know. So we can just decide for ourselves. Sounds like what everyone's doing is deciding for themselves.
I think I stand by the. I'll tell you why. Just if we look at the words, first generation.
Mm-hmm.
A generation has to start at birth.
But why? Again, like what about my mom?
What if someone, boy, I want to get this right. If someone emigrated from India at 70 years old, would you call them first generation American? If they became naturalized?
No, because, well, and then they had kids after that?
Forget that.
No, you
just
have-
if we can call someone first generation for just being naturalized, I thought that's what you just read. Then as 80-year-old person that moves here from India becomes naturalized, and then everyone go like, oh, they're first generation. I would say no.
Well, no, but you're only saying first generation in relationship to your family. You're saying like, I'm first generation, which means I was first in my family. So you wouldn't say first generation if it was someone who just
I'd say
moved.
it makes sense to me that it's the first generation born here.
Let's say somebody was born in Germany because there was, or Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She wasn't born here, right? Or I can't remember, but
That could be.
anyone who's, let's say, born in Paris and then a year later their family moves and they grow up here.
That's harder.
Why? But see, why?
Because they're so young that they represent a generation.
But my mom was 6.
Mm-hmm. I fully concede that your mother is like some mix that doesn't fit the definition all that well because she was so little when she came here.
Right. So you're saying
That's why I give her a
born here.
0.5.
You're saying born here.
Yeah, I think the first generation to be born here is who should be called first generation.
Okay. So the Paris example wouldn't be.
Correct.
Okay. Oh, all right. The ethnic diversity of Lincoln School.
Oh, all right. So I already talked about this with Kristen, and this is ripe for a debate between you and I, because you're about to get data on the whole school,
Yep.
not her classroom.
Yeah, of course. We were talking about the school.
No, I was talking about that my daughter's in a class with predominantly first-generation Asian kids.
No.
Yes. That's my whole point, is that I was looking at her writing and seeing that she's at the bottom
That
of
was
the class.
part of the conversation, but the beginning of the conversation was about low income. We were talking about the ethnicity based on that. Remember, because I said that doesn't really make any sense because a lot of Asians are affluent, so this doesn't add up. And then she was like, "No, but there can be poor Asians." That
was definitely one part of the conversation. But the part where I made claims about how many Asian kids were in the class was about the fact that my daughter could probably never be in the top 10% of her class because the majority of the students in her class are first generation Asians.
Now, are you saying class as in kindergarten,
Yeah, and not even just
or is
Not
in
even
literally
just-
her
not-
classroom?
literally her classroom, because
Okay.
I was looking at a wall with her writing next to all these others. And then I looked at a chart with gold stars and saw that she was
Yeah.
tied with the boys. So I was only making a claim about her class.
Okay. I mean, I will go back and listen to this.
Do you understand the logic of what I'm saying, though? It wouldn't make
Yeah.
sense for me to say that she's competing with fourth grade, fifth grade, or first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade students she's not even competing with. They're in other grades. The only thing that's relevant to the point I was making was who's in her class. I was saying
that was secondary. That was a secondary thing you were talking about. We were talking about the breakdown of charter schools. That just happened to be something you said about, and then.
But you're about to read the percentage of Asians at, I don't want to say the name of the
yes,
school.
at her school.
At her school.
Yeah, I am.
And I'm just saying that that's not necessarily what the percentage in her classroom is.
Sure.
Okay, great.
But you were saying that the breakdown of the school is mostly ethnic. And then you were saying.
I said the whole school is like
Asian.
70% reduced lunch or something.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Regardless of what I said, you're probably right. I don't know. What I'm telling you right now is the point I was trying to make is that in her class, she was not in the top 10%. Nor do I think she could get in the top 10% because I think that her class was majority first generation Asian.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm currently. I just want to be clear about that's what the point I'm trying to make.
Okay, so her school is 20% Asian, 6% Black, 1% Filipino, 33% Hispanic, 40% white.
Okay. Why are they not counting Filipino as Asian?
Well,
That's weird. Why did they break off just the Philippines?
Well, I
It's
think it's
30%
better to be
Asian.
breaking it down to more specifics.
Sure, but let's just say it said the school was 20% Asian, 30% Chinese, 20% white. It's just weird to break out
I don't know.
Filipino.
Filipino 1%, Hispanic Latino 33%, white 40%, multiple other 0%, English.
I'm glad there's no others there.
Well, no, that includes, it says in parentheses, includes American Indian, Alaska Native, and Native Hawaiian, other Pacific
It says
Islander.
American Indian?
It does.
Oh.
English learners 18%, special education 8%, free reduced lunch 43%.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's much lower than I thought.
I mean, still almost 50%. That's great.
Yeah, but I said 70, so I was way off. I'd like to get that number up to 50.
It's almost 50, which is good.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Well, the premise of the school is half-halves and half-have-nots.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I'd love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
It's like, it's so beneficial for both people.
It is. It absolutely is. That's what we're trying to go for.
Yes, we are.
What was I gonna say?
Asian. Filipinos, not Asian. We learned that today.
Well,
It's its own category.
they're just going slow, but what they're gonna do is eventually have each ethnicity represented. They're starting with Filipino.
Yeah, great. It's a baby step.
You don't like that I classify myself as Asian.
Fucking hate it.
Okay, but in
You're
this
from the
case,
subcontinent. You're
in
not
this-
from Asia. You're from a subcontinent.
In this case,
Yeah.
I'm Asian.
I reject that.
And it's why I buck up against this with you, because every test I've ever taken my whole life, I have to check the Asian box.
That's bullshit. Under other, I would have written subcontinent
Well, yeah, I didn't do that. 'Cause
or Mickey Mouse,
Technically,
or rather Minnie Mouse.
Minnie Mouse, yeah.
Every single election, I forget how many Mickey Mouse votes there are, but there's
Oh my
always like
gosh.
thousands of people write in Mickey Mouse. It's been a tradition for
Oh,
50, 70 years. But you'd be writing other, but then writing Minnie Mouse. So like it'd be playing on that joke and also your identity as Miniature Mouse.
that's right. Also, I'm not doing that. I will be voting for a president.
You're not going to write Mickey Mouse.
I don't want-
You could in California.
I'm not risking it. guys, this is too important.
Oh, I know. I'm just
too
saying
important.
California will be a high 70% blue, as it always is.
Yeah, but I'm not risking it.
Yeah, don't risk it.
And I would feel horrible about myself knowing I did that.
I think it's cool if you voted for yourself, Miniature Mouse.
No.
I'd love to have you as the president.
Guys, stakes are high. Okay.
You would be such a great president, but you would kill yourself as the president. You'd probably die at like 2.5 years into
Heart
your term.
attack?
Yeah, just you would try to take on everything.
Oh, I would.
You wouldn't delegate.
I'm the secretary of all the things.
Yes.
So for the first time, I'm the president and the Secretary of Treasury,
Secretary of
State.
Secretary of Secretaries.
I'm also my secretary.
I'm my own secretary. There's virtually nobody at the White House except for me and the special services.
How else will I know if everything's going right?
I know.
You know?
I know. If you want something done right, you got to do it yourself, including the Secretary of State.
Okay. Anywho, I'm Asian. And okay, so she said she thought for the Marshall Scholarship, you had to have like a 3.8. And you have to have a 3.7 minimum GPA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty high.
It's high. And that is, by the way, college,
Yeah.
not high school.
I don't care about high school. Doesn't mean anything.
You don't care about it because
I sucked
did
at it.
poorly in
Yeah,
high
yeah.
school.
That's right. It means nothing.
And you did well in college.
That's right.
Oh, you. Okay. Frank Rourke.
Let me ask you this, though.
Yeah.
It's a binary question.
Sure.
Would you have rather been great in high school or great in college? Academically. Let's put it this way. I feel much better saying I graduated college with a 3.8 and high school with a 2.0 or whatever the hell it was.
Sure.
Than vice versa. If I said to people, oh, yeah, I went to college, I graduated with a 1.9.
Of course.
Yeah, I
But
would.
here's the thing.
Here's the rub.
Here is the thing, which we talk about a lot in this episode, is the reason I actually don't give college GPAs as much credit, and I can say that as a summa cum laude.
Okay, don't pull rank on
Oh,
me.
I'm gonna. This is all tying in. I was doing something I loved. I was also doing something I didn't love, to be honest. I had an extra major that I didn't love. But when you're doing something you love, as you said, you're much more inclined to do well,
Yeah.
pay attention, to care.
But there is a little caveat in that, which is I actually took all the same stuff I took in high school, but I chose to. And literally for me, it was the simple act of getting to decide because I ended up loving history. I didn't love history in high school. And, I ended up taking all these geography classes I found super fascinating. None of that stuff interested me in high school.
But
But
you
as soon as I had autonomy over the process, ownership really. And I think you find this in employees. Like when you give employees ownership over the outcome, they're a million times more invested, as was I.
That's true, but you probably didn't take the maybe you did. I'm not, you can tell me, but you probably didn't take the class in college that you were the absolute worst at in high school, that you hated and that you were no good at.
I did not take chemistry.
That's what I was about
in
to ask.
college.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. But additionally, I didn't like English in high school, and I loved my English classes in college. I mean, first and foremost, you're around people who want to be there. And in high
college.
school, half the people there don't want to be there, maybe more. Half of them aren't going on to college.
Yeah.
So just you're surrounded by people that all want to be there. That has some lifting effect.
100%. More to my case,
Okay.
that I don't actually give that much credit to your GPA in college. I think if you fail out of college, that probably means like, ooh, okay, something happened there. But if you just have a really high GPA, I'm like, yeah, if you cared, you did.
Right. You would not suggest that the coursework at high school is as hard as the coursework at college, would you?
But like I struggled more probably in high school. Like there were classes like chemistry
Yeah.
that I was just not good at. And I
Yeah.
had to work hard to be at the level that I wanted to be at.
Mm-hmm.
And in college, I'm like, I'm just not taking chemistry because I'm not good at that.
Yeah. I had 3 term papers for every single class. So if I had 4 classes, which I always had, I had 12 term papers to write in 3 months. And that was extraordinary. Like when I look at my binder from college that I kept all my papers, it's a Bible. It's an encyclopedia.
Yeah.
And I had to write 3 papers in high school.
I know, but you like writing.
Says you.
Says
No,
you.
I do love writing. I don't know that I love writing research papers.
No one
with,
does, but
with
you.
citations and bibliographies.
No,
and
I
works
didn't
cited.
like doing any of that either. But I'm more likely to enjoy a class where there's writing over chemistry.
Yeah, me too.
Even if I don't love the thing I'm writing about, I'm going to be better at that than I am at
It's
chemistry
really
or
weird too,
physics.
because the hardest class I ever took in my life was in college, and it was Spanish.
Oh
Entry
my
level
God. I
Spanish.
had to take so much Spanish because my theater degree required it, and I was also bad at it.
Yeah, all UC schools require that you test into like 2 years of Spanish or something, or you got to take 2 years of
Two
it,
levels.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you know, I tried it at 3 different schools before I found one I could pass it at.
Oh,
So to me, that was even worse than chemistry. I was just like, I cannot.
my
do
brain doesn't work
this.
that way either. I had to take 4 because of theater, and I was just like, this is miserable.
I took German in high school, and it wasn't hard as Spanish in college because I didn't have Sassy Feld to copy every single
Sure.
homework and test off of. So
Yeah.
she got me through German in high school.
Callie and my friend Robbie would cheat in Spanish class.
Good
and
for
I would
them.
always cover my paper and not let them cheat off me.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were goofing off and then cheating.
The only time I ever cheated in my life in college was in my Spanish final for the second term. And what I did is computers were relatively new at that time. And I just made the font like 2.
Oh.
And I printed out this huge thing that
Oh.
fit in the palm of my hand.
That's so dangerous.
I had to. I was not going to pass, and I was not going to get into UCLA. And I had to do it. And I was like, I can't believe I'm about to cheat in college, but I have to.
Wow.
And I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it worked. It all worked out.
It worked. It worked.
Okay, so, well, one of my facts got erased, but that's fine. It was about Howard Roark and Frank Lloyd Wright. Yes, it seems that parts of Howard Roark were based on Frank Lloyd Wright. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
So they're not saying the whole thing, obviously. They can't
Right.
say
It's
that.
not. It's by no means a biography of him,
Yes.
but he was the archetype. I think she was kind
basing.
of. Yeah.
Yeah. Adam Smith, she was saying 1,000 people dead far away is better than losing your
And it's on the
small
Wealth of
finger.
Nations, Adam Smith. the
It's not
economist?
actually.
Oh, a
It's
different Adam
on. No, it is that Adam Smith.
Oh, okay.
But it is from his book before Wealth of Nations, The Theory of Moral Sentiments. If he was to lose his little finger tomorrow, he would not sleep tonight, but provided he never saw them, he will snore with the most profound security over the ruin of 100 million of his brethren, and the destruction of that immense multitude seems plainly an object less interesting to him than this paltry misfortune of his own. So there.
That's not that astute of an observation. I
Well-
mean, he certainly said it, but it's not that.
Maybe
It's
back
not that
then.
profound.
Back then, no one thought that.
I don't know.
No one had
That
ever
doesn't
thought
seem
it.
like a real breakthrough in thinking.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
He's observed that humans are selfish, yeah, you know, and he put it in an extreme scenario.
Wow, you're not having
I'm
it.
jealous of Adam Smith.
I can tell.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's all?
Yeah.
Well, that was nice. And love her.
Love her.
Duckworth. Don't be Danny Kahneman, be Duckworth.
That's right. That's the
Yeah.
lesson to take.
It's a good lesson. Love you.
Bye.